I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about my insecurities built up. You know, most of us struggle with insecurities, and depending upon the kind of home you grew up in, you have more insecurities or less insecurities based on the amount of love and attention that you received as a kid and how much you really worked through it as an adult. Many of you are coming to the channel not even realizing the attachment issues that you've had. And you take a look at these behaviors or attitudes and you look at yourself and you're like, I cannot even believe I acted like this. We can be embarrassed or ashamed of ourselves, disappointed. It's normal. You know, nobody's childhood is perfect. Nobody's home is perfect growing up, even in the most secure families. But when you have major losses, or your parents worked all the time, or they struggle with mental health issues or addiction, obviously there's a lot of different things. Those issues often come up in our romantic relationships when we get older. And you have to work on those things. I know a lot of the nonsense out there with getting your ex back is about these quick fixes or magic beans that, quite frankly, simply don't work. And Margaret and I and Coach Victoria are absolutely focused on helping you work through your issues, becoming more aware of what your issues are, improving your skills, improving your ability to communicate, have emotional self-control during difficult times during a relationship. All of these things are important to become aware of for understanding yourself and becoming enlightened and understanding who your partner is and the issues that they have. So it's okay that you have your insecurities. Don't beat yourself up. What you want to do is take a good look at them and grow from it. Obviously, the creative healing course is just absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so pleased with the way that it turned out. Honestly, I don't talk about it very often, but you can see what's in the creative healing course on the website. I mean, there's like 10 sections that are just filled with all kinds of fun, creative activities, homework assignments, cartoons, audio affirmations, whiteboard videos. All of those things are to help you work through your own issues and become truly secure within yourself. And so when you're in a romantic relationship, you know how to navigate in real time, which can be a real challenge. A lot of times afterwards we think about, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that. But you really want to be emotionally prepared. That way when it happens in the moment, you know what to do when that time comes, because that really helps your connection with your partner, okay? So today I've got an email coaching that talks about some insecurities that you can be aware of and understanding maybe where they come from and what you can do about it. This is from a guy that is in his late 20s, and he was dating a woman in her mid-20s. Okay? He says that they were only together for 6 months, but they had first met several years ago. I was totally drawn to her. Finally got together at the start of the year. Everything was great. She even told me she loved me a few months in. Okay, sounds good so far. Maybe a little bit too soon on telling the I love yous. But he goes on, and this is big. My mother committed suicide when I was 20. Even though he was an adult, what that tells me is his mom probably had a lot of mental health issues. You don't just commit suicide out of nowhere, right? This is probably many, many years of her struggling with anxiety, depression, and in my honest opinion, I know very little, trauma. I would suspect serious trauma caused her to want to do that, right? His dad was verbally and emotionally abusive, so I grew up very anxious. So these two statements, even though it's two statements, they actually tell you a lot. His mother committed suicide when he was 20, and his dad was verbally and emotionally abusive. And so he's also very anxious from that. Not only that, but losing mom would probably set that off even worse. But so we have two parents that are probably very toxic for each other. There was abuse going on. And mom probably really struggled with her own mental health, and that would obviously impact her ability to take care of him when he was a baby, right? And those first couple of years, which are so important. Anyway, my problems and insecurities built up. I was stressed. So, under normal circumstances, maybe he can handle himself better, but add the stress and it's really going to set off those insecurities. It took a toll on my relationship. My ex was my only support system. I put everything on her and was needy. Okay, so that probably put a lot of pressure on her, and it didn't allow her to feel a romantic connection with you. I ended up storming away and fell out with her. We made up the next day. Everything was okay until one day I phoned after work and she snapped because she had a lecture shortly after. Okay, so she's probably stressed with school, feels like she's got to take care of him, that he doesn't really have an emotional support system, and so she just can't handle all the pressure as well. She became cold, hardly spoke for 4 days, like she lost interest. The previous week, she was telling me how happy she was and how much she loved me. I know, it's just so overwhelming and shocking when somebody could tell you they love you and the next week they break up with you. It's unreal, but things build up, you know? Anxiety was bad and became needy, saying I love her, so she'd say it back. And if everything was okay, to soothe my anxiety. So you could see that she was frustrated, she was getting upset, she was getting annoyed and irritated, and he's like, take care of me, mommy, right? And so, of course, that would really turn her off. I signed up for therapy. Tried to play it cool, but my anxiety got the best of me. This is why you've got to do the work now. I'm telling you guys, you should see how many calls I have in a week where somebody is doing the work for a bit, they stop, they're convinced their ex isn't coming back, they're never going to hear from him again, they go right back to old patterns, ex comes back, and then you wind up in another breakup. I know you don't think your ex is coming back often because their interest is low and it stays low for a while, but that doesn't mean it can't go up or won't go up. And even if they don't come back, you still got to work on these things. Otherwise, you wind up going through another breakup with somebody else that's special to you. So he bombarded her with texts saying she wasn't being the same and how hurt he was. She said she didn't realize she was doing it and she would phone the next day. The next day, she ended it saying it wasn't working. She was sick of reassuring him. Stressed with university. Yep, see, she was getting the pressure and now she feels like she's got to take care of you. Probably no matter how many times she reassured you, it wasn't enough. She cried, saying she enjoyed every minute of us. I had done everything right, and the problem was her, not me. She might mean that, but I don't believe it. You hadn't done everything right. You were putting pressure on her, and it was stressing her out. You were looking for her to constantly reassure you, and that was turning her off. That can turn people off. He says, I cried a lot. She wanted friendship. I said I wouldn't do that. The call ended and I was devastated. She texted later on saying she was worried about me, didn't want to fall out, and still cared about me. I believe that. That sounds authentic. The next day, I text, you don't have to worry about me. I'll be okay. Just need to work on myself. Maybe go for a coffee when home at Christmas. She said that would be really nice and to take care. I started no contact and lasted 4 days. 4 days? That's hardly no contact. Oh man. Text her saying I've been reflecting and apologized for putting her under pressure with my problems and insecurities and for not giving her the space and time she needs for herself. And if she ever wanted to try and fix things, to let me know. I don't know, it sounds like maybe you were trying to do some kind of clean slate message here. Not a fan. Definitely didn't get this from our channel, I can tell you that. She replied saying she really appreciated it, but just isn't working. But to text at Christmas and we'll go for a coffee. Yeah, I'm not liking the vibe of that, right? I don't like that. Hadn't spoken a month until my grandfather died. She texted, I'm really sorry to hear this. I hope you're okay, with like a little X. I replied, thank you, with a little X. Her birthday is coming up. Should I wish her a happy birthday and arrange our coffee date or remain in no contact? Well, I don't like this. First of all, I don't like coffee dates. They're not conducive for romance and sparking things up. And that's what I'd be trying to do here. I'm not going to sit there and talk about, what went wrong and all the problems you had here. I want to try and have fun with her and reattract her. So I wouldn't take her on a coffee date. I would take her on a date in the evening to have a good time and try and spark things up. But I don't like the vibe of this coffee date here. It sounds more like a kind of a we'll sit down and talk about things and say goodbye kind of vibe to it. And that's not what I'm looking for. I want to take her out and have a good time and laugh again and make her think, well, I had a great time with him again. Maybe, I was wrong about things. Maybe things will be different if we're back together, and get her to try and, miss you again. So I wouldn't reach out for her birthday because I think if she's really interested in that coffee date, she's going to contact you. In which case, I'm going to say, instead of coffee, let's go grab a drink and some appetizers or something like that. Give off a very casual kind of vibe here and take it a different direction than sitting down and having coffee with her. So, in the meantime, you got to work on your insecurities, and you got to really take a look at the attachment trauma you've had, and unfortunately, all the abuse you suffered growing up. I would get into therapy and commit to the personal growth, and that way, if she starts spending time with you again, she's going to feel that difference, right? You're not going to just try and trick her with like little strategies, you know what I mean, that ultimately she's going to see through, because those things are going to come out again if you don't really do that work. She cares about you. She feels bad about your grandpa. But, at this point, I would leave her be and let her reach out to you, and then try and have some fun if she reaches out. Because right now, I don't see her, spending this coffee date with you to try and get back together. It seems more like okay, it didn't work. I wish you the best. I want you to be happy. And I don't want to hear that. I mean, that's just going to kind of make her more resolute with her decision. I want to take her out and have fun and, show that I understand why she wanted to break up, but I'm just trying to have a good time and enjoy that time with her. So that's what I would do in this situation. I'm not a fan of the clean slate message at all. A lot of times it just gets ignored, and I understand why you guys want to do things like that, but if it worked, we tell you to do it. I mean, the handwritten letter, the clean slate, the good reminder text, all of those things just don't get a lot of traction, and most of the time it gets ignored. And leave your comment. If you sent a clean slate message or a handwritten letter or a grand gesture, leave the comments for the people below so they can see that we're telling the truth. We're all about effective strategy here. So we would tell you to do these things if we saw success with them. But in our calls every week, we see what works and doesn't work here. And so focusing on yourself and becoming more secure and confident is the best thing you can do, and it feels good. That's why we're always talking about it. Quick fixes, magic beans, those things don't get you anywhere, and ultimately they don't really fix the problems which caused the breakup to begin with. Okay? Now, of course, we're here to coach you through your situation, to talk about what happened in your situation, because we know how confusing it is. You can get a coaching with me on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Of course, Coach Margaret is available for coaching, and Coach Victoria will be doing coaching soon. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.